think I forgot to do that last time I did this video. I didn't take a sip. Ruthless. What's up, everybody? Happy New Year! Welcome back to Brew Friday. It feels like it's been since last year since I did one of these. Right? I'm just kidding. I'm not here to tell you guys dad jokes. But I am happy to be back in the saddle or the office chair, whatever you want to call it, and answering you guys' questions. It's a new year, new questions, and we have a lot of growing to do with Brew Friday. I'm very excited for it, and we'll see what the new year brings for us. 2020, we're bringing the 2020 vision. Let's get it going. A couple questions I have backlogged from the past month of craziness with the holidays. After I started going through them, I kind of picked out two and started answering or taking notes on them with myself. And I kind of have a lot of notes on this, and so I'm expecting to only get through two of these today. And I think that's going to be okay, because it's going to be two really good questions with really in-depth answers that I'm not forced to rush through. I think I've been doing that lately, kind of doing two questions. That might be a new thing. At least every once in a while when they do, or every once in a while I still do three, but I think two questions is going to be easier to get through in 15 minutes. Because sometimes I'm like staring at the clock on my phone while I'm filming this for you guys, and like trying to hurry through my stuff so that I can get done with what I want to talk about. It's tough to answer three questions in 15 minutes. You'd be surprised. But getting into it now, going back to one of my old questions, I apologize to my good friend who asked this like a month ago and I haven't answered it yet. I got you, bro. What type of workouts do you recommend for longevity of joints, heart, overall well-being, etc.? Well, I don't know that I necessarily want to address that as what kind of workouts do I recommend for that, but I can absolutely give some tips for how you should train or work out for those goals. I broke those down. I have four different things I want to cover with that, and I think the way to start that off is to just address that in your youth it's very easy to imagine that you're always going to train balls to the wall as hard as you can all the time. And you get to a point in your training where you kind of have to acknowledge that that's not always going to be the case. And that sometimes it's not going to be just go, 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 and you're going to have to kind of take a step back, look at some areas that are probably lacking that you need to have a little give a little extra attention to, and address some issues that you may be having with joint pain, health problems that you may even be hearing about from your doctor, and other things along those lines. And so the first thing that I want to address with this is a comprehensive warm-up. And this is something that I know I neglected for years whenever I started working out, and that I know a lot of people neglect even now that I see going into the gym. They'll roll in, throw some weight on a bench, or maybe if they're really feeling squirrely and they really want to warm up, they'll do an empty bar bench press first, and then they'll throw 45 on each side, maybe a 45 and a 25, or maybe they'll just go straight to 245. And just jumping into your warm up like that, or jumping into your workout like that, works whenever you're young. It does not work as well as you start to age and your joints start to wear a little bit, and you're gonna notice some serious problems taking that approach once you get to later point in your life. So comprehensive warm-up, there's a whole bunch of different components of that. I'm not going to go through all of those components, but I'm going to mention a couple of them, the ones that I think are the most important, and kind of give you guys a quick overview on those. First is soft tissue work. Your foam rolling, lacrosse ball if you want to do that. I guess deep tissue massage wouldn't be really considered in this, but just beating up your muscles, your joints and stuff, those areas that get tight and restricted, beating those up with something to kind of loosen them up and let them move more freely. That's an important thing to start with. Whether it's in your warm-up or just throughout your day at other points, doesn't matter to me necessarily, but include it somewhere. Second, we want to look at dynamic mobility. The warm-up that I incorporate here at Case-Specific Wellness is mostly focused on dynamic mobility. I encourage people to do other things as well, like the soft tissue work and stuff. But sometimes it's just hard to fit that in the session here, so I encourage them to do that on their own. Pure dynamic mobility is your moving, your movement-based warm-up exercises. So I might have them rolling around on the ground or doing some low back twists or shoulder rolls, stuff like that, just to get joints moving around a little bit and allow them to break apart the restriction that is building up from sitting at your desk like I am, or just not moving much else outside of the gym throughout the day. Breathing. I hammer home breathing, especially whenever people start training with me for the first time. We do a lot of deep breathing work, focusing on breathing in and out of your nose. What this does is allows your body to kind of drive itself back to a parasympathetic state, which is your rest and recovery state. And it actually has been shown to boost your cardiovascular performance long term after doing that for a while. There's a lot of science and stuff that I don't even entirely understand behind that, so I'm not going to get into that too deep. But just working on breathing deep into your belly and taking in as much oxygen as you can and using it efficiently in your body. Activating. So I discussed before in Fit Brew Friday, it might have been the last one I did, I think, the jaundice lower cross syndrome, upper cross syndrome, where we have muscle groups that get inhibited from not being used much, and so they kind of shut down, and as a result you get these imbalances in your musculature where you get tightness over here and looseness and weakness over here, and it just causes a lot of imbalances and problems. In your warm-up, we want to start to try to address reversing that and getting us back to a nice balanced state of equilibrium where we're happy. And finally, something I like to include, especially with a lot of athletes, is a central nervous system activator. A med ball throw, a box jump, or regular jump on the floor, a sprint, something along those lines that is explosive in nature and forces you to kind of get into a heightened awake state. That is a good way to kind of wrap the warm-up up and transition you right into your workout. So including that comprehensive warm-up just to get you kind of primed up and ready to work out is going to be very important, especially as you age. And that kind of addresses the joint part of the question that we had right there. The second part, I first wrote more cardiovascular work, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. I was thinking of myself, because I obviously, as a bodybuilder, hate doing cardio. But what I really want it to be is more variation in your training methods. So we're not always just going to the gym and lifting as heavy a weight as we can. Or we're not always going to the gym and getting on the elliptical or the treadmill for 45 minutes or 2 hours, whatever you crazy people do. But taking what you usually do, keeping it in there, but also adding in some different methods that you may not or may not always attack. And what that does is we're constantly challenging our body to adapt to new stimulus. And when we do that, you force your body to remain youthful because you're making it adapt. Your body wants to adapt when you hit it with a new stimulus. You have to do it consistently. But the more that you're able to keep your body challenged and introduce new stimuli to it, the more that it is going to maintain its ability to adapt to those stimuli. And so when you're always doing the same thing all the time, as you age, it's going to get more difficult to include new stimulus, and it's going to cause problems later that could lead to injury or just pain that you want to avoid. So, variability in your training practices, comprehensive warm-up. 2 out of 4 so far. Third is strength training. This is an easy answer for me. It's kind of like cheating. But when you build strength, you increase the durability of your musculature. And so when I say strength training, I'm not saying you need to go do a powerlifting split, squat, bench, deadlift as heavy as you can, always doing 1 rep max. That's not it at all. But when you're able to build a little bit of base strength in your body, especially for people who don't necessarily do a lot of strength training or haven't up to this point, when you're able to start incorporating that and you actually get a little bit of density in your muscles and your bones and stuff, what that does is allows you to build up your durability so that if you would fall or run into something or get knocked over by whatever, you're a little bit more durable and able to kind of withstand that impact. And just the same, the strength training also helps you improve your balance and your coordination and things so that you don't so easily get knocked around or injured by seemingly small falls or whatever you may be running into there. We're just allowing our body to be more prepared for whatever curveballs we might run into throughout the day. And again, I want to emphasize, I'm not saying to go be a power lifter and do a bunch of 1 rep maxes, but moderate to high weight, your low end of your strength is 3 to 5 reps. Even more than that, again, for some of you who may not necessarily do a lot of strength training right now, any resistance training that you do is going to build strength. But if you have a little bit more experience in it, you want to aim a little bit more to that lower rep range for higher numbers of sets, so that you're still getting your volume in, but you're still training with heavier weight that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get a whole lot of reps for. Comprehensive warm-up, variation in training methodology, strength training. And this last one is, I don't know if it would be considered controversial, but I said pull more than you push. And what I mean by that is that the way your body is set up, you're pushing muscles, upper body, yes, it's all push, are on your front side. I consider your quads and the musculature on the fronts of your legs also pushing muscles as well. Don't necessarily get caught up in that. But because those muscles are on the front side of our body, we tend to use them and train them more often. And so they get overdeveloped and kind of leave the muscles on the backside of our body hanging. So first of all, horizontal pulling. Upper body horizontal pulling, very good for your shoulder health. Again, we tend to press a lot because we see these muscles, we want a big chest, we want big shoulders, all that. And what that does is internally rotates the shoulders and forces us into this rounded over position. So when you're able to amplify the amount of rowing and pulling that you're doing, what you're doing is pulling everything back up into this nice upright, externally rotated posture. And again, that's going to pull your shoulders into a better, healthier position and increase your longevity in that situation. So that's horizontal pulling. Now we're going to talk vertical pulling. Real quick on that, neutral grip, chin-ups in particular, great for building upper body strength in general. You're getting your back, you're getting your forearms, your biceps, a little bit of everything in that. And again, we're training muscles on the backside, they get neglected. And chin-ups are hard. No one likes doing chin-ups because it's not easy to be good at them. I suck at them, so I need to work on it too. I told you guys I'm going to stare at the clock because I'm running out of time. We might get to one question today, but that's all right. We'll answer another one sometime. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I have 1 minute left. Lower body, your hamstrings, your glutes, the muscles on the back side of your leg. Those are your power muscles for walking, jumping, running. Anything that you do that involves moving forward is because those muscles are pushing the ground away from you back. And so when those that get neglected, you end up just not only just not being strong and powerful in that movement position, but also weak glutes tend to allow our hips to rock forward, putting us in that hyperextended low back position, like I discussed about jaundice lower cross. So we're able to strengthen the glutes a little bit. That's going to pull those hips back into a nice neutral position and make our low back happy and healthy. I'm out of time, so we're going to call that the end of this. Hope you guys have a great week. I will answer this other question, I guess, next week. See you guys soon.